Let's get on to today's big topic if we can. Why? Because our guest co-hosts are two women who are teaching parents how to show up the way they want to rather than the way they are expected to by society. A warm welcome to Karen Abou and Sarah Raslan, the co-founders of The Wise Parent. Ladies, thank you so much indeed for being with us.
Thank you for having us.
Really kind of you. And it's interesting because we were talking about sort of cultural consciousness, and we have a little chat and we're thinking, we immediately think of it from a child's point of view. You know, how is a child culturally conscious these days with so much going on around them, etc. We almost forget that the same pressures are on parents as well. We parent from what we learn from our parents and the cultural choices we've made, the cultural values that have been instilled. And yet, when you move away from a country, etc., you're affected by other cultures and you're affected by other values as well. How does modern parenting, if there is such a thing these days, coexist with your cultural values? Who wants that one first?
It's a loaded one, but it's actually one of our favorite questions. It's a subject we're really passionate about, and something we're going to be speaking about at the Baby Expo on the 17th of May, alongside other experts. So we're very excited to talk about this. Raising culturally aware kids is a difficult job as a third culture parent, because you're trying to hold on to something of value, tradition for yourself, while trying to integrate with society as well. That's different from your mother nation or mother language. So it's a balance of, it's an intricate dance of embodying the traditions that you want to instill while still being flexible, but also it comes down to how you instill those values on a regular basis with your kids. So in our line of work, we focus more on the values and how you parent rather than the external pressures of society and what you're doing right and wrong.
And that's the big thing, isn't it? In the UAE, I was actually having a conversation with a friend of mine only this morning about the pressures within this country. Say even take children's parties, for example. We just saw Boo Boo Land there, for example. It's like, you know, in the UK, it was kind of a village hall and your mum made cheese sandwiches and that's kind of what you had, whereas
Bouncy
here,
castle sometimes?
Sometimes. Whoa, yes, someone was doing all right for
Marks and
themselves.
Spencer's caterpillar cake.
Yeah, I mean, that I would have until my dying day. But what I mean is, you know, in this country, there is this, you know, keeping up with the Joneses, if you forgive the expression. How do parents cope with the constant pressures, let alone anywhere else? In this region, it's a lot, right?
It is a lot, you're right. There's a lot of, I like to describe it as something that you externalize and something that you internalize. Okay. So when we grow up and we are constantly looking outwards, so we're looking and comparing ourselves to what's outside of us. Oh, this kid got new trainers, I need to get those trainers. Oh, this family did this really extravagant birthday party, I need to do the same. And so what
My friend had a mermaid at a birthday party.
Yeah. I think I was there.
Okay. We need different friends.
So what we end up doing inadvertently is that we're constantly comparing ourselves to what other people have and what we don't have. And something that we teach our clients and parents that we work with is to have a kind of dialogue with your kids at home to teach them how to look inwards rather than to look outwards. So what that sounds like is, if there's kids at home, if you have more than one kid, or even if they're, you know, your child is saying, oh, so-and-so got a new backpack, I want the same, you know, sparkly glitter rainbow backpack. What a parent can do is to start to train their child's brain by first asking them, is this something that you really need? You got a new backpack recently. Maybe there's something else that you need. Maybe there's something else that you want. You actually don't like glitter. You really like football. So just to ask those questions gets the child to start to think internally. So that's what I mean by looking inwards, like for them to start to then question, oh, maybe I don't need a new backpack. Well, what's something else that you need? Maybe you need new trainers. Oh yeah, actually my trainers are really run down. So that process will allow a child then to grow up and to hopefully to start to have those questions. And this is really at the heart of raising resilient, confident kids, to not feel less than and comparing themselves with you know, what else is going out there. And hopefully when they grow up, rather than what we do, which is, oh God, I need to do a birthday party even bigger than that one. It's, you know what, actually, I'm gonna stick to my, you know, community hall and my caterpillar cake birthday parties because this is something that matters to me.
Karen, I would like to ask about third culture kids because I am one. And I feel like it's a term for a very broad idea because there's someone like me who had a mum from the UK, a dad from Jordan, living in a predominantly Jordanian society. Here in the UAE, you have people who are born like, let's say, a kid born to 2 British parents and has moved into a multicultural society. And you've got these new kids who have 2 multicultural parents growing up in a multicultural society. Who do you think has the toughest time?
I think it's so hard to compare. It's comparing apples to oranges. It really depends on how you manage difficult experiences at home, how you manage those conversations, how important holding on to heritage or culture is to you. For some people, it's more about integrating into their new culture. For some people, I know for us, growing up outside of our home countries, it was about holding on to that because it's the one thing that we could keep from our homeland. So it really depends. It's really difficult to say who has a tougher time. It's more about how well can you manage those difficult experiences as a parent. And I think we all have a hard time as parents. Once you're a parent, I think everybody struggles.
Yeah.
How's it been going, Tom? Has it been going all right?
Just listening and nodding, you know. It's funny when you were talking about the backpack and the keeping up with the Joneses and things like that. Just this morning, as I was leaving, I was I wanted some water on the way into work. Opened a cupboard, and literally about 400 water bottles fell out. I mean, talking about keeping up the Joneses, the water bottles. How many water bottles do you need in a house?
You got one yesterday, didn't you? On this show.
That will go straight into the cupboard with the rest of them. Question: authority. Our understanding of authority. You know, everyone's got this idea of parenting, and you've got your good cop, you've got your bad cop in a relationship, all that. But things have changed a little bit. How do you instill authority as a parent, especially with culturally conscious kids these days?
I actually really love your question because let's first get on the same page with what you mean by authority.
Ooh.
Because to me, what I'm hearing is this idea of respect, respecting your parents, and they have the final word, right? So it's this hierarchy. Is that what you mean? So in today's culture, kids are talking back, or maybe, you know...
I think it's that, yeah, the traditional, and again, I suppose the traditional values you grow up, you just didn't answer back to your parents.
Yes.
Whereas today,
You do.
there's a bit of room to answer back to your parents.
It's more grey.
Yeah.
So I think that there is absolutely still a need to have authority at home. There needs to be structure. There need to be boundaries and rules. There needs to be an understanding of respect. And it's mutual. It's not one way. Yeah. But in terms of structure and having the hierarchy not flipped upside down is crucial for children's development because it is very scary and unstable when the child has more authority and more power than the parent. That should not switch. And when a parent is afraid to kind of step in and be like, actually, this is a boundary, this is a rule, this is not allowed, you cannot speak to me that way. When a child can push back on that, they're kind of like, oh my, where am I? Like, this is you know, scary for them.
So it's rules born out of respect rather than rules born out of fear or something like that.
Absolutely. Yeah. And how we teach respect is by giving respect. And I think that this is something that perhaps back then in our parents' generation wasn't necessarily the case. It was very much like rule with an iron fist at home, and children knew, you know, not to overstep. But today, we're not parenting with that iron fist. We're parenting with a lot more negotiation, a lot more communication. So how do we still keep that respect? Well, we role model it.
Is it do as I do, not as I say?
Yeah.
Is what my dad used to say to me. Thank you, Dad. Ladies, thank you so much. Stick around. Obviously, you're going to be with us. Thank you for being both of our guest co-hosts. For now, though, we are going to find out more about our performer. We're going to be finding out also how books shape a child's cultural identity. That performer, let's find out a little bit more, though.
Hi, my name is Fabio, and tonight I'm going to sing Send My Love. Don't forget to tune in.